Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Good morning. Wait for it. Good morning. Welcome to today's installment. It's Bathrobe Moments, and I'm your host, Dr. Lauren. What a day. It is going to be, I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. No, Fella Purpose is here. I'm here. You're here. Something is in the mix. Something is happening. Great show today is one of the things. And we have just together, two or more of us, we have enacted that promise. One of my favorites, that where that happens, you know what comes next. Spiritual magic. It's on the way. Get ready. Listen, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We've got a great show for you. Charles Mattocks is in the house. Going to talk all about his new docu-series featuring everything you need to know and everything you should know and all the things you never knew about menopause. Not menopause, menopause. And before we get them in here, he has a couple guests with him, a couple friends. Well, you know how it's going. Still holding steady, just a little over 2 months. Talking about my transformation, 35.4 pounds down in a little over 2 months with the metabolic balance system. You know who she is. She was here just last week. Dr. Jane was here. And we did a special, actually, if you want to catch it. It's on my YouTube channel. We did a 90-minute special about the metabolic balance deal. And man, my life has changed. Today's breakfast, not Greek. That's what my husband eats. Greek yogurt, goat cheese. No, goat milk, goat something, but it's goat good. And I love it. And I'm having a peach with it today. So there you go. 35 pounds gone. Not too bad for 62. So listen, head over and here's the book, you guys, in case you want to see. Get out and grab it. It's the #1 USA Today bestseller. And beautiful, beautiful recipes. Also, this is what's coming up today. Look at this, you guys. A docu-reality series. You know, Charles has been doing these for a number of years, and this one is a biggie. This is a biggie. I know I've had many guests over the years. Not so long ago, we had a woman here about that. And perimenopause. And did you know? I had no idea. Sometimes menopause will last 20 years or more. What? What you talking about, Willis? Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. So that's coming up. Any announcements? Oh, yes. This tonight's Mindset Revolution free webinar will not be happening because I have got some lines to memorize for something I have to do recording wise this Saturday. So we're moving it to we were supposed to be off next Wednesday. Don't worry, all over the Lauren Michaels Series, the LMH pages, you'll find one of these. It's a QR code that will get you to next week's so that you can reserve your seat today. Anything else, you guys? Anything else? Our number to beat today, was 1,415 people. We're halfway there. Right now, there's 712 of you here. Call a friend, phone a friend, send up a smoke signal, do a rain dance, do whatever you need to do. Cue Olita Adams, get here if you can, because you're going to learn a few things today. I guarantee it. And men, that does not exclude you, okay? You got mamas, you got sisters, you got aunties, you got daughters, you got nieces, and everything in between. This is information we can all benefit from. Doesn't have to pertain to just you. It's not about you, Marsha. I want to learn because I got a lot of women in my family, right? Plus, I just like to do better. So without further ado, you guys, put your hearts on the screen. It's our way of virtually saying welcome as we roll out the red carpet for, here comes my good buddy. You know, we used to do a nighttime version of this show, Bathrobe Moments After Dark. We're talking about doing it again. What do you think, Charles? We're going to do it? He's talking like I can hear you. See what I mean? This is going to be good. He's so easy. Here he comes, Charles Mattocks. Put your hearts on. He's on the way down the hallway right now.
Yes.
You're so goofy. How many times you been on this show? You know they can't hear you from in the green room.
Well, I just got to start off by saying how proud I am of you. I was watching the show the other day and with Jane, and I was like blown away just by, and you're still at it. You're like sticking to this thing fully, huh?
9 years. I'm in the 9th year. Syndicated.
No, I'm talking about the weight loss.
Oh, the weight. Yeah.
So you're not like diverting from that at all? You're just going to totally.
No.
No, what I'm actually doing, and I would keep it real. Last night I went and I had my mentor meeting with my 21-year-old kids. Went up to their office and they had bought us. There's a thing here called Portillo's, the place you guys have
Yeah, I
Portillo's.
love. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you know that chocolate cake?
yeah. Yeah.
They done bought two of them, one for them and one to sit home. I was like, oh no, no, no one used to bring us baked goods. We have had macaroons forced upon us. All I'm not kidding you. French desserts. So I brought home. It must have been a quarter of it.
Yeah,
But we have our little treat time. So this was the first time we will eat the dinner part of our
yeah,
treat on Saturday.
yeah.
And then we had the dessert part last night. And I'm not
Mhm.
kidding you. We looked up, we had chocolate all over our face. I said, would you eat it with your feet? He was like,
Yeah.
look, who's talking, right? But yeah, I am at the point now where I'm weighing like the proteins and the stuff,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
veggies and stuff. I'm easing off of the strategic laboratory
Yeah.
type approach and
Okay.
easing it into my own. Yeah. How about
Well,
you?
I mean,
How's your weight?
if you're down 30 pounds, you've got
Excuse me, 35. 35.
35.
I mean, but
You've
who's
got
counting?
some. No, you've got some leeway there. You can play around a little bit. You
Exactly.
know.
I went 3 pounds over
Yeah.
so that I could kind of like, pull
Yeah.
up to the bump, baby. Remember
Yeah.
her? What happened to Grace Jones? ADHD, sit down up there. They're running
Yeah.
around. They're running around. I
Well,
want to know who you brought today.
I brought some amazing
I know
women.
divas.
Yeah, I
I
brought some
can see them
amazing.
back there.
Yeah, I brought some amazing women who, are more
Yeah.
educated than me in the subject matter that we are tackling. And I think that's what I love to do, and I know you love to do. We like to let people showcase people and let them shine, and we're storytellers at times, and sometimes we bring on amazing people who can help tell those stories.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, your hair. I can't hold it back anymore. I'm just.
What this is a natural thing in Brazil.
Who was
A
that?
lot of
What was that song you used to have? The thong song.
no, I didn't sing that song. That was
Who did?
Cisco or
Cisco.
something like
Okay,
that
so
from
that's who
Drew
you
Hill
look
or
like.
something like that.
You
Yeah,
look like Cisco.
thank you,
Okay,
thank you.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna come up. I'm gonna show it with a blonde scalp.
Well, you know why I did that.
Yeah, midlife crisis. I mean, wanted to change. So
Well,
why
yeah,
did you?
well, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there, but
No, don't,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
got
yeah,
a real serious thing. Before we bring the girls in, the
yeah.
ladies, the
Yes,
divas.
yes,
I found a little thing. One of my favorite actresses. I
yes.
did
Okay,
not screen it. I did not screen it. But because this affects everyone,
okay.
everyone, and I had no idea. I really didn't. I had no idea that so much went into this, and these women, honestly, are not crying out loud. Don't cry out loud. Melissa, get out of my head, girl. What is up with my ADHD today,
Who are
Charles?
you talking to?
It happened. Well, because I'm saying they suffer in silence a lot. I
Yeah,
got a lot of women in my family. I
yeah,
haven't heard one word about this.
yeah.
So that I want to ask. I want to ask the ladies, why is that? Why don't I hear about this? But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm going to share the screen because let me see. Did I get this right? Hold on, you guys. You know who Viola Davis is, of
Of
course.
course, of course, of
Okay,
course.
she was on Jimmy Kimmel, which that's my boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Love him, love him, love him. Wait a minute. Where is this thing? Okay, wait. We have a clip somewhere. We're looking for it. So, Charles, I want to ask you, out of all of the topics you
Yeah.
could have chosen, why this one?
A good friend of mine was dealing with this a few years ago, and they were in, I want to say early, maybe like 41, 40.
Mhm.
And I saw them going through some serious emotional issues, and just there was no answers, and I was shocked, and I started looking into it, and like other conditions that I focus on, um, there are billions of dollars being spent, billions of dollars being lost, but little to no advocacy.
Mm.
And it really just compelled me over the last few months, where I was like, I don't understand this. With all the women who are running the world and CEOs and heads of ad agencies and in positions of power, why is there little to no information, advocacy, or awareness on this condition?
Mm.
And I think, Lauren, at times I have to admit, I want to fight the fight that at times can't be, you feel it can't be won. And the way we put shows together is we're independent and we
Yeah.
go out there and try to raise the funds. And I started looking into trying to team with some of these brands, and I'm like, I don't get why I'm getting so much pushback, or nobody has any money, or
Oh,
all of
look.
this stuff.
Absolutely right. When I think we talked about this when
Yeah.
I was preparing to go on tour in Romania.
Yeah.
Remember the Power with Symposium? We do this with the kids all over the states.
Yeah.
All my corporate sponsors. The minute they found out I was going over there,
Yeah.
everybody cut me off. Well, I don't know what it. I think people are afraid of what they don't know, or if it doesn't affect their own backyard, they don't think it's important. But we're going to change that, right? We're going to change that.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this this clip that I had it already up, but then I had to leave to come back in here. Let me share this with you guys. I don't know what she said, but I love everything she said. So take a listen to this.
Good to see you. I like your hair. It's big. Thank you.
I like it too.
Boy, I wish I had an afro. I really do. I would love to have an afro.
Afros are very difficult to maintain.
Are
That's
they?
what people don't know.
To keep it in a shape, is that the hard thing?
Everything is the hard
Everything
thing with the fro. It's hard to moisturize it, which is why I used to always wear wigs.
Oh, really?
Until I did something that really stopped it for a long period of time. I went to get an MRI and I put a wig on my head.
Okay.
You don't know that in order to keep a wig on your head, you got to put pins in it.
Oh.
And then when you go to get the MRI, it's magnetic.
Yeah. The pins went where?
No, let me tell you something, Jimmy. The fact that I'm sitting here, my dignity is still intact. As soon as I walked in that room, that wig started floating off my head.
Oh, no.
And those pins came out like bullets. They were like, and the tech woman started ducking.
Wow.
She started ducking. She was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then she was like, your name is Viola Davis, right? And so half of the pins were on the floor, half of them were stuck on the MRI machine, and half of my wig was off my head. And she finally said, you could take your wig off. I said, I cannot take this off.
Wow. I hope everything is okay. The MRI, it sounds like the MRI was more dangerous than whatever you went in for.
I'm skipping.
And then just die.
I know that it happens.
You know what? Menopause is hell.
It is.
Jimmy,
Is it really?
menopause is a dark hole. Okay, that's what menopause is. And that's where I'm at right now. So
Oh.
I either will love my husband today or kill him today.
Oh, no. How long does it last?
You know what? Somebody needs to tell me because it's lasted now for about 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's what I'm talking about right there. Now, Charles, let's get to late. Where are you? Where are you? Why aren't we? Oh, there you are. Okay. I want to know. Okay, it's brought in, but it was brought in, it had to be in humor. Oftentimes, that's what has to happen with difficult situations, hard to address issues. Comedians pull it off all the time. But you see how that had to be brought in? But she said 6 years. Somebody needs to let me know. What did Jimmy say? How long does it last?
Yeah.
They get those bullet points, no pun intended, pretty quickly. So let's get the ladies in here and find out what they felt about what Viola said. Because she didn't hold it up. She brought it in. So tell us who's about to hit the stage with us.
We've got Sanjita and we've got Jacqueline.
Oh, well, oh, just come on in, and you had your own keys, ladies. Come on in. Nice to see you. Sangeeta, you were here first this morning. Calling in, showing up from where in the world?
I'm in Cape Coral today, Cape Coral, Florida.
Cape Coral, Florida.
Yes, and I just flew in from Costa Rica yesterday.
You did? Are your arms tired? I'm kidding.
Yep.
You were in Costa Rica?
Yes, I live there.
Oh, Charles, don't you film there?
Yeah, and I live there too as well. You know that. So we're going to be shooting another season again. And we brought the best of the best.
Okay, and Jacqueline, where are you with all that beautiful natural lighting? On the beach?
Okay. No, I'm in Queens, New York. Not the beach.
Okay, I know. I see all that light. Are you at work today?
Yes, I'm in my practice space.
Nice. Welcome. So, Charles, why don't you open the door here and tell us how these two wonderful women got here, and who wants to go first to talk about?
Yeah, I think in building what we build, and you've been on set with us in as well. What we do is we're focusing this season where we're going to feature 5 women who are living with menopause, various stages of menopause, and then also some of their loved ones. And having an intimate setting where these women are going to wake up together, laugh together, be educated together, and be able to share, and then bring on some amazing experts that could literally go through the A to Z on menopause. And so even when talking to Jacqueline the other day, I was just shocked at some of, because she focuses on the pelvic floor and things of that nature, that those are discussions that really need to be had. And then Sanjita focuses on a totally different methodology with dealing with menopause, and together, when we add these other amazing experts, is going to be something where women are able to literally look and see other people that they can relate to and say, that is me. I never knew that. I never understood that. And now find some answers to their questions. So if we start with, let's say, Jacqueline first, and I would say, Jacqueline, if you could share some of, what you do regarding, the pelvic floor and understanding that whole modality. I'd love for the audience to be able to understand.
Yes, of course. And thank you for having me. Yeah. So when we talk about menopause, I think people just go straight to the age menopause happens, but we really need to take into account those years prior, which is perimenopause. And that could be anywhere from 7 to 10 years prior to menopause. So if we want to just look at menopause itself, it's technically 1 day on a calendar. And that's 12 months after somebody did not have a cycle. So once that 12 months arrives on that calendar day, it's okay, you're in menopause. So everything before that is perimenopause, and everything after that is postmenopausal. But we need to take into account all the things that are happening. And as you said, Charles, that I'm pelvic health. So I specialize in women's pelvic health and sex and intimacy. And I did bring, I showed Charles, but I did bring my pelvis, of course. But in terms of a little bit of statistics, 1 in 2 women will have some type of incontinence as they age. And that could be urinary incontinence, that could be fecal incontinence, and it could be a little bit of a mixture between urgency and frequency. And then prolapse is another condition that people experience during menopause. And prolapse is when the organs that are held up by the pelvic floor descend either into the vaginal canal or the rectum. So you have your uterus, if you have a uterus, you have your bladder, and then you have your rectum, and they could descend into the vaginal canal. And that condition, it tends to rise when you're in perimenopause. And then once you hit menopause, it plateaus. So all these women are coming to me with experience of urinary urgency. Like they're like, I was able to hold my pee and now I can't. Or I'm sneezing and I'm laughing and I'm going to the gym and I'm jumping and now I'm peeing my pants. So like, what's going on? This never happened. Or they'll come to me and they'll say like, I feel this like feeling that like stuff is falling out. And that's exactly what they'll say. Like, it feels like things are going to fall out. So what I do is I support these women with this specific area of their body to alleviate their symptoms. And I'm an occupational therapist, so it's a form of rehabilitative medicine. And what it looks like for people is very different, but it's mainly with the vagina, the rectum, and the pelvic floor. But we all know that as humans, we are like connected. So it's not just the pelvis. I'm looking at the whole body.
Wow.
And before Stenjita jumps in, I'm sorry, Lauren, but you know, I was talking to another expert the other day because you had mentioned, you know, we had talked about why, and I'm sure Stenjita and both Jacqueline can share why this is such a taboo topic. Because if you think about it, they made a great point. You know, when we look at women who are menopause is almost saying I'm past my prime, or I'm not as fertile as I was when I was, you know, in my 20s, and I've crossed that line to the other side per se, and that's why even when we think of these you know, powerful women who could be sharing it, but there's a lot of stigma in the workplace. You know, they don't want to be, you know, labeled as, you know, whatever it might be in the workplace, so that's why you don't see it talked about as much as it should be. But I'm sure Sanjita can explain a little bit about, you know, a little bit more and share what she does too as well.
Please. And before Sanjita, I have a muted. I might suggest, if I may, suggest something from the, even though I'm LGBTQ plus I, all the rest of them, I'm just saying, we need a synonym sheet or something, because I'm keeping a list of gut punch words that kind of just, you know, I mean, the last time I felt this way was at 12 when I had to buy tampons from Kroger and they needed to do a price check. You know, how much are the right pelvic floor, menopause? Okay, recently cycle. And then for real, prolapse. Okay, did we really need that one? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is this. Is that anything to do with the lack of communication? Because some of them seem to be shocking words or terms, especially coming from the male viewpoint. But I want to know from time to time as we move through, you might have to explain some of them to us, because you see what I'm saying? We don't want to run out of the room, but we want to be supportive, but we need to be desensitized in a way. I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but ladies, you know, I'm sure you have men in your world that you explain this to. So throw a couple of those in, because we have some men out there watching today, and I want them to stay put.
Yeah.
Just get yourself a trash can in case you know you vomited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then maybe I'll throw in an explanation of what genitourinary syndrome of menopause is, because that's a doozy.
Okay.
And that's like real life.
You know, oh, Jennifer. Okay. There you go. Jacqueline, real life stuff. And listen, if it doesn't sound good, it probably doesn't feel any better. So let's talk about, thank you, synonym checking out 12, Robert Brooker. And go on. Let's get Sanjita's take on this. What you got to say, Sanjita?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having a platform in which we can bring this to light. I was always thinking that it was cultural, the fact that we never spoke about anything to do with sex or menopause or periods or anything right from the beginning.
Right.
And when you had your period, you kind of hid in a bathroom and, you know, secretly spoke to a couple of people. But I realized slowly that this is just cultural across the world. And it starts ancestrally and go, you know, don't talk about that. Women have pain all the time during their periods. And it's just basically normal. But it turns out that it is not normal. Women do not have to have pain during the periods. It is an abnormal pathology that we accept as normal. And the more serious that their pain is, the worse that they're going to be earlier in life. And what I mean by that is, I loved Viola Davis saying, I don't know how long it's going to last because nobody really talks about it. Well, nobody really talks about it. Well, guess what? It can actually last for decades. The progesterone levels in women starts to go down in the mid-20s. And if they're under more stress, it goes down much, much faster. So that's where people start to have worse periods, cyclic pain, sleep problems, mood problems, fatigue, heavy periods. And generally, the answer is silence. Let's just shut them up and put them on a birth control pill. So you see all these young kids who actually have some kind of cyclic pathology that's going on, whether it's an ovarian cyst or whether it's what we call premenstrual syndrome or cyclic anger, whatever it is. And we put them on a pill. And then they don't discover that they have this problem, and it's gotten a lot worse until they get off the pill, which could be a couple of decades later. So the whole time is a sequence that is the sequence of menopause, really. It's not a date. It's like a process, and then there's a moment at which the periods actually stop. And that moment in our culture is signified by more hot flashes or sleep problems or weight gain or anger or just a whole host of things. But it's not like all of a sudden you fell off the cliff. You've had 2 decades of symptoms that you've been in silence about. And nobody has talked about it. Nobody has told you that, people say, oh, menopause is just a normal thing that happens to all women. And if you go to the blue zones, and we happen to live in one in Costa Rica, but there's many blue zones around the world where people have less stressful lives. And it turns out that they sequence into menopause much more elegantly than maybe us who are living in more of a stress response, because we have no reserve. So we get to the point where the ovary's not producing something and it feels like you're falling off a cliff. And falling off a cliff and you can't even scream because it's supposedly normal and every woman goes through it and you don't need to talk about it. So we need to change the culture. And that's why I'm so happy and so grateful to you, Lauren, and Charles, and also Jacqueline, who's here, that we're willing to shout out about the things and speak of things that people don't speak of because they're real. And we need to, I think these kind of movie is just going to change the culture. So
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Can I just ask something to the ladies? What's it feel like when I'll be honest with you, I was thinking in this lava rock called a mind. I was like, I remember when the only reference to menopause was hot flash, the connector. If you heard that menopause, that was the only thing I understood, or that was allowed to. That was the key word, if you will. Nothing else. So, why do you think that was the thing that was chosen way back in the dark ages as the number one symptom? Because when a lot of us, men especially, think about what we know about menopause, it's like, and it's a big joke. Give her a fan, she'll be all right. Go stick your head in the freezer. And they even show that in shows and stuff. They make fun of it, kind of, So how does that make you feel? And how long is the list of symptoms?
The list is very long. It's very long. And some of the symptoms are not even ones that you would think of, like frozen shoulder, tinnitus, which is ringing in the ear, electrical shock syndromes throughout the body, sometimes burning tongue. So these are all symptoms that could be something else, but very much will be perimenopause and menopause. But from my perspective of working with women, the one that they comment on the most is the hot flashes, is one because other people will relate. And I find that people don't like talking about the other things, especially the pelvic floor symptoms, because it is taboo. It's hard to speak on. People often kind of normalize it. Oh, that's just part of aging. So then they're like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this. Hot flashes, everybody knows that. Let me just comment on that.
Yeah, and one of the things I'd like to ask too as well, and just throwing it out there, but are there ways to, and anyone can take it, but are there ways to make menopause easier before it happens? And then also, especially with the pelvic floor, are there ways to work on that pelvic floor to make potential complications later a little bit easier? So maybe Sanjita can take the first part, and then Jacqueline can take the second part.
Well, first of all, I'm so happy we're talking about the pelvic floor, which is the synonym word that we needed a description for. But basically, it's the muscles that are in the vaginal support the vagina, the uterus, and the bladder. And if you don't ask a woman if she has a problem, like if she's leaking urine or jumping up and down and urine's falling out, or they're having frequency or urgency, have to run to the bathroom. If you don't ask, nobody will say it, even in a doctor's visit. And that's why it's so important, like in our forums, that's one of the questions that we ask. And I would say almost 30% of women are either wearing a pad or doing something to make sure that they don't have urine. And it's a very embarrassing thing to talk about. So nobody really talks about it. Yeah. I do think the reason why, Dr. Lauren, your question about the hot flashes is because you can't really hide a hot flash. If you're sitting in a room and you start sweating bullets, people can see that. But the rest of it ends up being extremely just quiet silence, right? Whether maybe you're tossing and turning all night, maybe you have night sweats at night, maybe you're waking up in the morning and feel like you need to go back to sleep, maybe the skin on your face is not as thick as it used to be, maybe your arms are having aging spots on it, which people say, oh, those are just age spots, but it does have something to do with estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and DHEA levels. So I think that's the reason why hot flashes are so well known and talked about, whereas there's all these symptoms, just like Jacqueline was saying, that are underneath that people just don't talk about. So
is there a way, Sanjita, to deal with menopause that?
Yes, I didn't get to that part of your question. So it turns out that if you start looking at hormones across the board, what you find is that the ovaries are part of a system where the adrenal, the thyroid, and then the ovaries live. And in our society, we very much live in a bit of a chronic stress response. So our adrenals and our thyroid are compromised. So then when the ovaries go, we really can fall off a cliff. But if we are cognizant of the extreme power of the medicine called life balance, then we start to preserve our reserve. We preserve the nutrients. We preserve the reserve of the hormones that's going to help us weather that storm. So I feel that just goes for everything, because all of the ovarian hormones are steroid hormones that protect the body from inflammation. They protect the body, the knees, the brain, the heart, the vessels, the skin. So if we have good lifestyle habits where we're balancing our life and we're grounding ourselves into the earth and we're exposing ourselves to the sun and we're laughing a lot and having joyful purpose, believe it or not, those are really, really the most important medicines for changing the way in which you weather that period in life.
No pun intended. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Can I ask something? It's for, I know this is gonna sound cray-cray, but I don't even have a clue as to what does menopause do? Why do you have it? What is it accomplishing? I mean, why is it necessary? What is it doing to or for or against your body? What?
You know, I laugh at that only because this is, I think, how important this is.
Yes.
That and I say that when we shoot our shows, I think whether even if it's the diabetes show that I've worked on, is the first thing is what is menopause, even to those who have it, or what is diabetes. So even when we are together on the series, it that question should be number one, because how many of us have no idea of what that is? So I mean, feel free to take it away, Jacqueline. No, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how, like, I explain it that, like, as we get older, women are outliving the life of their ovaries, whereas years ago, the lifespan was shorter. So women are just outliving the life of their ovaries. So basically, menopause just signifies, like, you can't bear children. It's the end of ovarian reserve. And I know somebody put in a comment explaining there's different types of menopause. There could be surgical menopause. There could be chemotherapy-induced menopause. There could be premature menopause, ovarian insufficiency that causes menopause, but it could be reversed. So there's all these different types of menopause, not just this one menopause that everybody kind of thinks of where women hit and it's the end of like your cycle and you can't have children anymore. There's all these different avenues that I think it's very important for women to understand, because you could be 35 and need a hysterectomy and take out your ovaries, and now you didn't have that experience of transition. It's just like you had surgery and now your ovaries are gone and you had a hysterectomy. Now what do you do, right? So I think education is so important. So that question, even though it may sound cray, it's really important because not many people know.
Yeah.
Is this something young girls get when they get the talk? Oh, you're a woman. Go out and have lunch. I had 6 sisters. So it was like, at first I didn't understand. Why in the hell? Right. Why is it so important they get to go have a special lunch and a special day? But it was always, but I doubt very seriously, because I'm scared to ask, if this was included. Now there's another little piece, daughter, that we need to talk about. How early do you think young women, young girls, women should be introduced to, I wanted to say the Grim Reaper of, but see what I'm saying? That's how I see it. And that's another thing. Do you all see it like you're being stalked by this horrible thing? Is it just a piece of being a woman? How do you look at it? I mean, is it a burden? You know what I mean?
I think the more education you have, it could be like a great transition, because you're at a different stage of your life. If you're educated on what's to come, how to manage symptoms, if you want to do it from a more, if there's different options, there's a medical option, but there's the more natural option. So I think the more education you have, it could be like, okay, I'm going to embrace it. It doesn't have to be scary because everybody's saying like this symptom, like it could be a beautiful thing in a sense where now you're in a different stage of your life where if you have children, you raise children and you're back to your independence, and maybe you want to live your life with your partner. You don't have to have this dreaded, oh, but I'm in menopause and, I have all these symptoms. If we have the education for it, preparation and prevention in terms of symptoms, like you were saying, Charles, I think it could be just a transition, exactly what that is.
And to Lauren's point too, I think that's the fact that he's addressing it as this dreaded thing. I think that it makes me want to make sure that when we do this series, that we break that stereotype, that we aren't looking at it as this, this dreaded thing that's going to happen, and women aren't going to be in their prime or aren't going to be as amazing as they should. And this is where we're at with it. That's why even women don't talk about it the way they should, whether it's in the workplace or
Right.
whether it's amongst. So
Right.
it's a very valid thing that maybe we have overlooked. Quick question, and this is a side question. And I think what we're talking about too is hormones, and I remember, and it can, and hormones can affect women even very early, and I want to say that, my daughter went through something when her first period came, and it was literally like she had totally become a different person. um and still it's not, it's a fractured relationship. Is that as far as the hormones, because we know that people can, with certain, hormone changes, can affect certain people, where they, I was talking to an expert yesterday, and she said, Charles, I was experiencing rage and different, things that happened to me. Can you explain the hormonal side?
Yeah, I wanted to, yes, absolutely. And I wanted to also make a comment about what Dr. Lauren asked about do we talk about things? So it's really a cultural thing. When we were brought up in a way where many generations lived in the same family, there was a little bit more understanding that there's different phases in life. And if we treat it as something weird, then it's viewed as something weird. Whereas if children are exposed to their mothers having their periods and they're just given an explanation, children can actually understand these things. I think the problem is hiding it from them. And then all of a sudden they start bleeding, or they learn about this thing in sex ed in school. And it makes no sense. It's such an important part of your life and human reproductive cycle that this should be part of the milieu of information that we grow up with, just like, the milieu of information about taking care of your body or taking care of a child or whatever it is. So I believe, and I am very much supportive of my own grandchildren, understanding that they will have a period at some point. And my granddaughter knows that from age 2 or 3. She sees it and we just explain it. And she realizes that at some point she'll go through this transition, and she'll, I think it's because we treat it as weird.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the question you asked, Charles? So sorry.
Oh, as far as hormones.
Yeah. So as far as hormones, and I saw Jacqueline also shaking her head. The fact, or rather nodding, the fact is that the hormonal changes start much, much earlier than we think in this day and age. Modern living is certainly man's greatest disease, and we have kids. I do a lot of hormone therapies and bioidentical hormones specifically, and I have kids who are right after they start their period, all of a sudden they have no hormones. And it's the stress response, and they're having anxiety and all kinds of things. And obviously you may use, say, a bioidentical progesterone to get them through the hump. But what you want to do is teach them the life skills and the life habits that can go long term. So most of these kids, maybe we'll start them on.
Uh-oh.
I lost her for a
She
second.
froze. While that's out there, can I butt in? We'll get back to.
They're not going to have a problem. So that really, and so as far as hormonal therapy, I saw that question came up, and I don't know if Jackie wants to take that question, or I can take that question about HRT. At least I can give you my opinion. So in 2002, people started running through the door with Suzanne Summers' book about bioidentical hormones. And I was in a 5-doctor practice in Washington, D.C. And I was like, wow, like Suzanne Summers is teaching these people about the book. But women know what they want, man. And when they come through the door with this book and you dismiss it, they just leave the practice and find somebody who's going to take care of them. So out of the 5 women, I ended up being the one who decided to read this book. And I realized that there was a...
She's got some bad reception.
Yeah, she's getting cut in. She'll be back. Real quick, can I just?
So I ended up learning about bioidentical hormones, and I've been using them for the last. Well, to put long story short, I've been using hormonal therapies for the last 20 years and actually teaching physicians how to use them. And we calculated the breast cancer rate in our office out of 12,000 patients, and we had a 8-fold less breast cancer rate than the general population. It wasn't just hormonal, it was also nutrition and life balance and things like that. But I think it's very sad when people lose their hormones very early and they're told they have premature ovarian failure. And somebody asked that question because premature ovarian failure is a failure of the adrenal thyroid axis. And if you correct the adrenal thyroid axis, the ovary comes back online. And I've had many women have that happen and have many babies after they have a diagnosis of premature ovarian failure. So I think I answered the HRT question.
You did. Thank you for that, Sanjita and Jacqueline. I want to, as we start to wrap, I wanted to throw this in. So, because help me understand this. Because this isn't like some disease that we're searching for some cure for. It seems like we're searching for a bridge of understanding, empathy, not sympathy, but understanding, so that the journey is what it should be for all people. So I want to ask you this, because I can't find anything that is comparable, because we're not looking for a cure. We're looking for what is it we're really seeking here? That, if you could address that as we wrap up, and then Charles, take us into when do you think the world will be able to put their eyes and their heart on the work you all are doing together, i.e. the docu-series. When will that be out, and how will people find it?
Yeah, you guys wanted to take the first
please.
part of that?
I'll answer it from like a pelvic health and preventive medicine, like an OT lens. So being that women are going to transition into it, it's more about education and finding ways to prevent these symptoms. So as Charles asked earlier, is there a way to prevent? So if you look at the pelvic floor, there's skeletal muscles, just like a bicep, just like a quad, there's skeletal muscles. So if you're properly supplying them with nutrition, with lifestyle modification, with understanding of how they work from a system, because your pelvic floor is a system that works with your other muscles, and coordination, there's ways that you could go into it preventing some of these menopausal vaginal vulval symptoms. So that's kind of where my goal is, but a lot of women are coming to me when they're already experiencing their symptoms and they're like, okay, I'm leaking, or I have pain with sex. What can I do now? Whereas like my goal is to kind of address it prior so that as this happens, you're prepared and you're not like, okay, now I have to find a doctor that's going to listen to me. And it could be one doctor, two doctors if you don't have the right resources.
Good point. Real quick, because I got to ask this. Do you find more women reach for which male doctor, female doctor? If I was a female, I'd probably go, what's he going to know about this shit? And I'm going to go to her. Is that necessarily case or what?
When it comes to menopause, I think it's not male or female. I have people that are coming to me, they have female doctors and their doctor's like, I can't help you because I don't know what to do. It's a lack of education from the medical standpoint in general.
Wow.
I mean, Sanjita, you have a different opinion. I think that's just my opinion based on the women that are coming to me.
Wow.
And the most important thing is that the client themselves is comfortable with the person and has 100%. Trust and confidence in the person that's holding their hand, and that the person is actually holding their hand as 100%. Opposed to treating them like a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So that a male, female, llama, I think it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Perfect. Charles,
I love
about
this conversation because once again, it shows how important being able to produce a series like this where we can really flush out these answers over a few days, because I think there's so much lack of interest, and it blows me away. It blows me away. It's actually pretty sad that we don't have the information is not out there the way it should be. And
there you go.
so I'm excited to be able to put this together and have these amazing women be able to, make it very clear and understandable and lead people to some serious answers and change some lives.
And understanding, sure.
Yeah.
You get, Charles, so spring, summer 2020.
We're going to start shooting in May, and probably about 3 months after that, we'll finish the editing, and then it'll be out then. And
awesome.
In the meantime, we'll do some great press and get the word out there.
Well, there you go. And I'll say this on behalf of the E360 Television Network and Trajectory TV, we will gift you a 90-minute television special when you're ready for it to help put eyes on this topic, and also to put you inside of the proverbial mix, okay? So keep your eyes open, keep your heart open, and we're going to get there one story at a time. I just want to thank all the people on the screen today, Sanjita, Jacqueline, of course, Charles Mattocks, who is always bringing us these awesome docuseries that help us live better and more quality lives. So as we get out of here, I just want to wish everyone here the very best day ever, including you. I'm Dr. Lauren, and remember this. I promise every day to meet you out on the front porch, God willing, so that we can have conversations just like this one, illuminated, to help the world be a better place for all, not just today, but those who are on their way from tomorrow. Get out. Take an E and an R and make everything better. It takes great to greater, strong to stronger, bright to brighter. Now, I will say this. As you leave, please, whatever you do, don't let my screen door slam. And remember, Dr. Lauren says it every morning, and he means it. I love you. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. Keep your eyes open. We're going to do a special. Thank you all so much. Thank you for what you do. All of you. Charles, great job. See you guys tomorrow. Have the best day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show